Caregiving requires empathy and a humane environment, but the moment an incident occurs, that environment immediately intersects with strict legal requirements. Every incident report you complete at Sanctuary Day Program LLC is a legal document. If a situation escalates, these files become part of a permanent record that can be subpoenaed in court. If an individual receiving services is injured, the burden of proof falls on the agency. We have to provide written documentation proving that employees and contractors act reasonably and responsibly to protect the individual and prevent that injury. Because of the scrutiny, you cannot rely on casual language, personal assumptions, or shorthand. You must document every detail factually, writing with the understanding that a judge may eventually review your exact words. Objective, professional documentation provides the factual record of events. It acts as a legal shield that protects the vulnerable individual, the agency, and you as a caregiver. To ensure legal compliance, the first operational step after an incident is evaluating its severity. This triage process determines your strict reporting deadline. This chart outlines the two reporting timelines. Critical incidents require submission within 24 hours, while standard incidents allow 2 business days. Looking at the critical column, medical and physical events trigger the 24-hour window, including severe injuries, hospitalizations, deaths, missing persons, and medication errors. The 24-hour rule also applies to environmental and behavioral events, such as safety control procedures, unsafe housing, property damage, criminal activity, and theft. The most sensitive category of critical incidents is MAIN, which stands for mistreatment, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. These allegations are governed by unique legal obligations under Colorado statute. As a mandatory reporter, you have a strict dual reporting mandate for MAIN. You must immediately notify the agency director or designee, and you must make a report directly to local law enforcement within 24 hours. Call the local police department where the individual lives, reserving 911 only for active emergencies. Simply telling a supervisor or case manager does not satisfy this mandate. The individual who witnessed or suspected the mistreatment is required by law to make the contact with law enforcement themselves. Correctly identifying the incident type in the first few minutes establishes your exact legal timeline and dictates the required chain of command. Once you know your deadline, you need to write the report itself. Submitting a form with missing fields breaks the chain of evidence and halts the resolution process. This graphic shows the rigid 13-point checklist every report must satisfy. First is the who. Record the names of the reporter, the person receiving services, and any witnesses. Next, include the specific Medicaid identification number. Then, define the what and where. State the incident type, an objective description, and the exact date, time, place, and duration. Following that, describe the immediate action taken and whether you observed it directly. Item 11 lists the names of every person notified. Finally, detail the follow-up, the person responsible, and an optional 14th point for final resolution. Omitting even a single piece of information from these required points leaves the incident technically unresolved and exposes the agency to legal vulnerability. Drafting a compliant report only matters if you route it to the correct authorities immediately. For critical incidents, you must submit a verbal or written report to the case manager and the legally authorized representative, if applicable, within that strict 24-hour window. If you are waiting on specific details to finish the 13 points, do not delay. You must submit the incomplete report to the case management agency within 24 hours and provide the missing data promptly once it becomes available. All completed investigations, particularly those involving allegations of MAIN, are routed to the Human Rights Committee via the case management agency. Based on your initial report, they can request further details, offer their recommendations, or launch an independent investigation. Submitting the document correctly transfers the burden of action from you, the individual caregiver, to the broader protection network. By successfully triaging the incident severity, drafting the mandatory data points, and routing the form on time, you fulfill your legal and ethical duty. These reports drive systemic safety improvements. At least every 3 months, Sanctuary Day Program analyzes this incident data to identify trends, correct problematic practices, and prevent future harm. Success depends on avoiding 3 common failure points: using subjective language, leaving mandatory fields blank, and failing to directly contact law enforcement for MAIN allegations. Accurate, timely, and objective documentation creates an indisputable record of events. It is the most powerful tool you have to protect the individuals in your care, the agency, and yourself.